stay sharp. You know that feeling, don't you? That hum of a perfect morning? The sun just right, coffee exactly how you like it, the world ticking along in its familiar groove. Arthur lived for that hum. His days were a symphony of small, predictable movements. Every spoon in the cereal box, every turn of the key in the lock, every step on the worn oak floorboards, precisely measured, precisely rehearsed. He found peace in it. He needed it. Until one Tuesday, just a Tuesday. He'd set his lucky quarter on his desk the night before. Heads up. Always heads up. It was an old habit, a quiet superstition from a lonely childhood. A tiny glint of silver, a constant. That morning, though, something was off. He walked past the desk, already reaching for his coffee, and his eye caught it. The glint was still there. Sure, but it wasn't heads. It was tails. Arthur stopped. His hand froze. Midway to the mug, he stared at the coin. He hadn't touched it. He never touched it once it was set. His housekeeper only came on Thursdays, and even then, she knew to leave his desk precisely as she found it. He knew it was heads. He knew it. He'd placed it there himself, after turning out the lamp. A small thing, right? A flicker. A trick of the light from a tired eye. He told himself that. He even believed it for a minute. But it got under his skin, like a loose thread on a favorite sweater. You tug at it, just a little, and suddenly the whole thing feels wrong. The next morning, his oat milk carton. Arthur always bought the same brand, blue cap, specific type of font. He was a creature of habit, remember? This one, the cap was green, and the font just subtly different, like a cheap knockoff, trying to pass for the real deal. But it was in his fridge, and he knew, with a chill, that he hadn't bought it. He remembered the blue cap, clear as day, placing it in the fridge himself after his Sunday grocery run. He felt a prickle then. Not fear, not yet. More like a challenge, a quiet dare. Someone was messing with his hum. He started paying attention. Really paying attention. He'd never had to before. His life was a comfortable rut. Now, he was looking for the cracks. And he found them. The little ceramic owl on his mantelpiece, which always faced the window, was now facing the door. The bookmark in his paperback, a worn leather strip, had been moved from page 172 to 174. The remote for his television, which always lay flush with the edge of the coffee table, was now angled ever so slightly towards the armchair. It was almost imperceptible, you see. Tiny things, things anyone else would dismiss, laugh off, blame on their own forgetfulness. But Arthur wasn't forgetting. He was remembering. He was becoming sharp. He changed his routine. The comfort of habit was gone, replaced by a tense, almost exhilarating vigilance. He started taking different routes to work, varying his lunch breaks, even buying his coffee from a new cafe a few blocks further away. He felt like a hunter, or maybe the prey. He was making his next best move, constantly. He was staying sharp. It was exhausting, yes, but also invigorating. He felt alive in a way he hadn't felt in years. He was observing, deducing, acting. He imagined a shadowy opponent, unseen, testing him, trying to break his rhythm. And he, Arthur, was winning. He was anticipating. He was unpredictable. After a week of this, he felt a strange sense of accomplishment. He'd gone to bed feeling almost triumphant. He'd checked every corner of his apartment, noted the exact position of every item, mentally photographed his living space. Nothing had been moved. He was ahead of them, whoever them was. He woke up feeling light, almost buoyant. This morning he was certain everything would be exactly as he'd left it. No more games. He'd proven his mettle. He'd stayed sharp. He made his coffee, the blue-capped oat milk back in its rightful place, sat down at his desk, reached for his lucky quarter, and there it was, heads up, just as he'd left it. Perfect. He let out a long breath. He'd won. That's when his eye caught the small red light on the corner of his bookshelf. The security camera he'd installed 3 days ago. A paranoid impulse hidden behind a stack of old journals. He hadn't even remembered it was there, but the light was blinking, meaning it had recorded something. A curious frown creased his forehead. What could it have recorded? Nothing. He'd been alone. He'd been safe. He pulled up the feed on his laptop. The playback began. It showed Tuesday morning. Arthur, getting up, making coffee. Everything normal. Then, Arthur walks over to the desk. He picks up the coin. He flips it. From heads to tails. He puts it back down. Then he walks to the fridge, takes out the oat milk, twists off the blue cap, replaces it with a green one he pulls from his pocket, then puts the blue cap back into his pocket. He moves to the mantelpiece, turns the ceramic owl. He shifts the bookmark. He angles the remote. Each tiny, deliberate act, caught in perfect, silent clarity. Arthur watched himself, his own face devoid of emotion, a blank slate, going through the motions. He didn't recognize the cold, methodical intent in his own eyes. It wasn't him, but it was him. It was him, on Tuesday morning, orchestrating the subtle shift that had thrown his entire life into chaos. The footage continued. The Wednesday morning, the Thursday. Each day the subtle changes, the quiet sabotage, all performed by himself in what looked like a somnambulistic trance. And then, Friday. Just last night, he watched himself reset everything. The owl back, the bookmark in place, the blue cap on the oat milk, and the quarter. Flipped back to heads. The screen went dark. Arthur sat there, the empty hum of his apartment suddenly deafening. He felt a cold knot tighten in his stomach. The realization wasn't a shock. It was worse. It was dread. He hadn't been avoiding a threat. He hadn't been winning a game. He hadn't been outsmarting an unseen opponent. He'd been calibrating. He'd been training himself, pushing himself slowly, deliberately, to notice every shift, every detail, to stay sharp. But for what? Who had set this strange, quiet exercise in motion? And if he was the one making the changes, the one becoming sharp, who was the voice telling him to make his next best move? And what was he being sharpened for? The hum of the perfect morning was gone, replaced by a new sound, the quiet, unnerving click of a lock somewhere deep inside his own mind. A lock that had just sprung open.